It's the tragic love story
Conrad's dead.
ripped from the headlines.
A young woman who encouraged her friend to kill himself.
The Girl from Plainville is Hulu's new series
She was in contact with him the whole time, right up until he killed himself.
about one of the biggest and most shocking true crime stories, the texting suicide case that gripped the nation 4 years ago.
Did you know anything about the case before you signed on?
I did. I think I knew as much as kind of the world knew at the time. I remember it being on my TV screen and following it a little bit and seeing photos of this really beautiful girl who was kind of being very villainized in the media, I would say. And that's all I knew. I knew that obviously the story ended in a very tragic way.
Elle Fanning takes on the role as Michelle Carter, the convicted Massachusetts teen whose words literally killed,
I think she was telling him to do it.
texting her clinically depressed boyfriend, Conrad Roy, to kill himself.
Have you made contact with Michelle? Have you talked to her at all?
You know, I have not. I didn't feel like it was appropriate for me to. I do know that in the Roy family, there has been contact with some people on that side, but not with Michelle. I felt like I had as much as I needed to be able to do the part, and I had access to all of the text messages between them, which was really haunting, but helpful, as hard as that they were to read.
What do you think dying is like?
Just like floating on water.
How did you get into character, though? I mean, did you spend a lot of time looking at court footage, etc.?
I did. When we were doing the because obviously, I mean, the story pans 7 years, so there's a lot of different versions of Michelle that we see throughout our show. So the court portion is towards the end, and she's changed a lot from when it starts out. But we do have footage. The only footage that I have of her is that courtroom footage. So everything else you kind of have to imagine and piece together yourself. I watched Glee like a lot, and like Fault in Our Stars I rewatched, and I do know that Michelle was a real fan of Glee. There's specifically a scene where I'm mimicking Leah Michelle singing Make You Feel My Love, and that
Great scene, by the way.
Yeah, it's a bit twisted, I think, but it's really, God, that's I love that scene. I mean, when I read the pilot, I knew, I was like, wow, that's a challenge, and like that. Yeah. That's a big moment there, and one of my favorite scenes I've ever done, like in my career of that day. It was very hard. I will say that day was very hard. I sang that song for 6 hours and have listened to that clip and watched it. Can't even tell you how many times. I mean, I had a legal pad and I wrote down every single gesture, every time Leah Michelle closed her eyes, every time she would get emotional at each moment on every word. And I have that written out so I can mimic it. Because I mean, that's what our Michelle was doing, was she's mimicking grief in a way, which is so interesting because our show does play with fantasy and reality.
Love to be your Juliet.
But you do know what happens in the end.
Actor Colton Ryan plays Conrad.
Can you kind of describe the relationship? A lot of it was long distance.
Almost all of it. This kind of still happens a lot under all of our watch. Young people, like many young people, who are looking for themselves. And I personally think that it's asking the question of, are they looking for it in the wrong place? Are we all looking for it in the wrong place by valuing ourselves more online?
And Oscar nominee Chloë Sevigny tackled the tough job of playing Conrad's mother.
He was living with you when it happened.
You think I don't think about it every night?
Getting into her character, you're a mom yourself. How did that hit you?
Playing a parent who's lost a child, it's one of the worst things imaginable, and being a new parent myself now, it had a very profound effect on me. The emotions were always right there. And I was working away from my child for the first time, so missing him is a new experience and a confusing thing to navigate.
Yeah, it's just a lot going on all at once. It's like multi-layered for you.
Michelle didn't know really how to help, Conrad, and I think young people will watch that, maybe recognize something of themselves or one of their friends in it.
Do you think that Michelle maybe took pleasure in grief? Do you think that she felt any remorse?
I think that the pleasure came from wanting people to like her. She wanted attention. She wanted friends. She wanted connection. And she thought that she would get that. You know, she would get sympathy from people if this.
I just can't believe he's gone. The Girl from Plainville is streaming now on Hulu.
Thank you for watching. If you want more extra, hit the subscribe button and the bell so you'll never miss a video.